Okay. All right. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about me being late to the hype train. The A Court of Thorns and Roses series, which I thought was over, and finished and wrapped up, but I guess there's gonna be another one. Or I don't know if it's like an addition or like a continuation or if it's separate but the same universe. I don't know, because I will not be continuing the series. Now, this is not me giving hate. It just turns out that I am not a romantic-y girly. So this isn't going to be really like a review, because I don't really want to say whether or not I liked it or disliked it, because it was clear to me that it was more of a genre thing than an anything else thing. Like, I am just not, while I don't mind like romance and stuff in my fantasy, I obviously just don't like when it takes the cake. I don't like when it runs off with the whole thing and like takes precedence over everything else. So turns out I'm not a romantic girly, and this was the book series that made me realize that, because there were so many parts of the series that I was really honed in on. Like, I really liked the world building. I really liked some of these like side characters that had like really mysterious vibes around them or surrounding them, and like had like so much like massive lore aura, and then you don't find anything else about them, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm here for the lore, like the world building, like everything about this setup seems up my alley, and then it gets ditched for the romantasy aspects. And you know, obviously if you're into romantasy, that's what you're there for. You don't, I'm not saying you don't give a shit about lore or like world building or anything like that. You could be a multi-dimensional creature. And uh, it just, I wanted it all. I wanted it all. And that means the books would probably be like this fucking big each if I got everything that I wanted out of those books. So, yeah, I don't think the writing was my favorite, but I don't think it was bad either. Like, it wasn't like, oh my god, I need to put these books down, bad. And not necessarily that writing is always bad that makes me put it down. It's just sometimes like the the cadence is off, the like, you know, I don't know, the flow is off. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean the writing is bad. It just doesn't mesh with, you know, the way I read things, or it's not coming off like the way I want it to. You know, it's all preference, you know what I mean? Like, it might just be too slow to get to, you know, a point or a plot point, or, you know, the character descriptions might not be clicking in my head because of the way they write. It might be too vague for me to fill in the blanks or something like that. You know, these are just examples. I don't know. Sometimes I like vagueness because, you know, my head can fill in the blanks. But, you know, those are just examples. But I feel like, you know, that was my main thing with the Court of Thorns and Roses thing. Is I was more interested in the lore and the background and the world building than the romantasy, but it was the romantasy that was the sole focus, and it's a romantasy, so duh. So this isn't me hating or anything, this is just my thoughts on it. I can't really do a proper review because I read them a while ago too as well, so I don't remember key points. I do like how they character hopped a bit, because honestly, the main character wasn't doing it for me. And I kind of have a soft spot for the hated characters, or the characters that are kind of, because honestly, I mean, give me a character, make me hate them, and then give me their point of view. Done deal. Sold. Love it. So, loved that. But the writing wasn't my favorite, but it wasn't put down worthy. Like, I hate this writing. Like, let me put it down. It was a little cheesy, not gonna lie. Wasn't too into the spicy bits. I'm not a spicy reader. You know, I do like a little bit of spice in my books. I don't search it out, I don't seek it out. So it's not really my thing. So I don't really know how to react to it when I come across it. So when it's kind of like the point of the book, like you build up all of that tension just to get to those spicy bits, I don't know what I'm looking for. So I'm just sitting there awkward. Like, it's kind of like when you're sitting in a room with your parents and then all of a sudden a spicy scene comes on and you're just like, oh, did I close my eyes? I don't know. Um, so I just, it's just not for me. It seemed a little, I don't know if it was cheesy just because, like, not that I'm immature, just that I'm like not used to it. I'm not seeking it out in my literature. So maybe I like a little more like subtle spicy. But then I read A Song of Ice and Fire when I was like 14, and there's like nothing subtle about some of those scenes, but the way it was handled was like less smutty and more like to the point, I guess. So maybe I like things just like more to the point, like matter of fact, like this is what's happening, and less like, ooh, here's what you've been waiting for this whole time. Maybe that just makes me blush. Maybe I am immature. I don't know. But yeah, so that's my kind of half review, half shooting the shit about A Court of Thorns and Roses. If you guys even give a fuck about my opinion, you guys let me know what your thoughts were, because I know this is like a really kind of like you either hate it or love it kind of book. I hear a lot of hate or a lot of love. I rarely hear any in between, to be honest. So yeah, talk to you later. Bye.